So to push film, you have to first overexpose it. You got to give it more light than what it's actually going to need. Essentially, you're faking the camera out by giving it something that it thinks you're shooting versus what you're actually shooting. So for me, with my 400 speed film, doing a 2-stop push, 800, 1600, I'm going to set my internal meter or external meter to 1600. And that's where I'm going to shoot my frames at. Now, the second part of this process when it comes to pushing film happens in chemical development. But remember, we're using a traditional 3-step black and white process, so we have 3 separate chemicals. However, again, for this video, remember we're going to focus on the developer because that's where the massive dev chart really is going to help us probably the most. The massive dev chart is a database with a ton of information on timing and temperatures needed for all kinds of developer and film combos. And luckily, this chart is very easy when you know what variables you have and those that you need. The first thing I do is go to the column listing all the ISOs. What I'm looking for is the ISO I metered for, not my box speed. So for this example, we're looking for 1600, not 400. From here, you're going to notice that there might be a couple of lines with your given ISO. For me, it's 1600. There are 2 specifically. Really, the difference will be your time and your temperature. So for this example, we have 75 degrees Fahrenheit and 68 degrees Fahrenheit with 2 different developing times. You can choose either one, but whatever you do, make sure you're consistent. Don't switch the variables, don't switch the lines, or inevitably that's going to affect your development. Now, the only other part that you really need to know with the developer specifically, and really all 3 of the solutions you're going to use for this process, is agitation, because we need to know time, temp, and our speed or consistency of agitating the actual chemicals over the film. And thankfully, even though the massive dev chart doesn't necessarily do the agitation inside the web app, if you download their mobile app, they give you a darkroom app that actually will help you out with agitation. This is kind of like a standard agitation, and typically what I've seen that it does for me is it'll make you do your agitations for the first full minute, and then it'll do consecutive 10-second intervals every minute thereafter. But generally, if you're just beginning and you've never tried this out, if you follow the darkroom app, it really helps you out by keeping you track of time and keeping your agitations consistent, which is really the key here. And of course, after you're done with development, you still have to follow the next 2 steps, which is a stop, bath, and a fixer inside this 3-step process to give you the viable negatives. The developer basically brings the image to light, and the next 2 steps stop it and solidify it, kind of like concreting your image into the emulsion. You have to do these next 2 steps in order to get to your negatives. But again, for the purpose of this video, we really only wanted to focus on the development and the massive dev chart because people really don't understand how you come up with the numbers and the timing and the agitation and the temperatures you need in order to properly develop the film, not just stopping it and fixing it. Which, if you're interested in that, I do have an older video that will help you out with that end side of the process as well. But for now, hopefully this has given you some ideas into how to properly develop your film using a 3-step process, not using something like the Cinestill monobath in order to give you more control over your negatives. Specifically with black and white development, there are a ton of different developers out there that people love and some people hate. And this will give you the intro into determining which ones you like and the ones that you don't want to use on your film. For me, we use DDX. I also have used Rodinal on the channel. There's also HC110, which is a Kodak product. Inevitably, just like every other part of film, it's up to you to decide whether you like it or don't, and hopefully this will shed just a little bit more light onto how to do the process in order to give you the footing you need to really help determine some of those aspects. And hopefully, if it has, you'll let me know in a comment down below what you liked about all of this, what really stood out to you, and what you think you might be able to take away from this into your development. If it helps you out, please let me know that. If it has some questions, if it leads you to questions, let me know that too. I would love to help you out in the comment section as much as I possibly can. I love talking to anybody that gets into it with me. I super appreciate all of that. Of course, while you're down there, don't forget to check out the typical social links for Instagram, TikTok, as long as we have it, and Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, and if you're into any of those. So make sure to hit me up on those as well. I'm on there usually pretty much daily. Don't tell anybody, though. I'm kind of addicted to all of them. But anyway, thank you so much for checking this one out. I appreciate it as always, and Happy New Year since I didn't see you guys earlier in the month. But beyond all that, I'm going to say peace out, and I will see you guys, as usual, as always, in the next one. Well, if you know, you know. That is the sound of the last frame. It is so cold out here. My teeth hurt. So if you know how cold that is, that's how cold I am right now. But hopefully, we got some decent images, we're going to take them back and develop them. And that is the next part. And hopefully the fun part. So let's do that.